Hey guys, it's Logan Freeman with the LiveFree Investors Podcast. I interview investors and business owners who share investment advice so you too can live free. Today, I'm talking with Matt Rackers. Matt, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
So I'm Matt Rackers. I am a small business owner and investment real estate owner, as well as investor in the mid-Missouri area, including Columbia, Jeff City, and all surrounding towns.
And so, Matt, tell us how you got started in investment real estate and or why you got into investment real estate.
Sure. So I got started, my first property is actually a warehouse building, which is a pretty big property. I think most people typically go in with duplexes or single family units to start. I jumped into the warehouse because it's something that is relatable to my other business.
Yep.
I own a small construction business, and I'm just familiar with warehousing. So I was looking around for a warehouse to potentially move my business into. Found a really good deal and realized that I could cash flow off of that warehouse without moving into it. And it was actually better for me in that route.
Yeah.
So that's what got me into it. I had looked into it before, but that's what really made me get my feet wet and really dive in.
So it was like a real need that kind of pushed you into getting into real estate on the investment side. And then you ended up not even moving your own business in there. So that's pretty unique.
Yeah. It really worked out well. It just kind of was a natural progression for my business. And then, like I said, found another avenue that it could actually benefit me more.
Yeah. So I was at home this week I was a sponsor for a confirmation for my cousin, and I went back to my mom's house and I was at off 54 highway, and I was like, that's not your guys' spot there, Rackers Equipment though, is it?
No. So that's a cousin. As you know, around the Jeff City area, there are more Rackers than you could possibly ever count. So
Okay.
no,
All right.
that's a distant cousin though.
All right, man. Well, we're going to jump into our next question. What's the best thing about being an investor and a business owner?
I think it's directing your own future. So that can often be the best and the worst things.
Yeah.
You are the one in control of everything that you have around you. And I think that's the case in all areas of life, but especially when you are not working for yourself or working for someone else. They have a lot more control and in the direction, not necessarily the day-to-day. So I would say the best thing is that I get to really steer myself in the way that I want to go and really not limit myself to anything.
Yeah, that's a great answer. It's a great answer, and one that I resonate with quite a bit. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I mean, we've got coronavirus, we've got protests. I don't think probably Jeff City has gotten too many protests, or Columbia, but Kansas City I had to drive 15 minutes around the blocked off streets last night. So, you know, keeping up with those current trends and opportunities is always a challenge. So I'm just curious about, you know, your methodology on staying up to date with what's going on in your market.
Yeah. So like you said, in our market, we haven't really been hit super hard by any of the protesting yet. Obviously, that's still kind of developing as we do this. I think that will probably take a role. Corona has certainly taken a toll on us in this area, or maybe not taken a toll, but definitely had an effect. The way I stay connected and try to stay up to date is just constantly talking to everybody I can. Networking with people that are in the industry and not just my construction industry, but also in the real estate industry. I've got a number of realtors that I talk to in the area and I meet with regularly. And then I also just read what I can as far as where the trends are at, and try to find different sources. A lot of what I've been trying to read is how people are adjusting their businesses. We've been fortunate to not really have to make a major shift yet, but I'm trying to stay ahead of that. So if that need arises, we have the availability and the preparedness to be able to make that shift and float right through this like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, that's important. So, you know, what's the best advice you have received as an investor and a business owner?
Across the board, I would say look big picture. I think all too often, myself particularly, I get caught up on the minutia and I want to make things perfect, or I want to, watch my bottom line maybe a little bit too close. I think long term, and the best advice I've ever gotten is consistently look big picture. Look at, your overall goal, because your overall goal on this one property may be to, make sure you hit a certain cap rate or come in with a really good offer and get it for a cheap price.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, 20 years from now, that's your big picture. And kind of stepping back to look at the forest instead of the tree is often the best thing I can possibly do.
Yeah, Stephen Covey relates that to starting with the end in mind, right?
Yeah.
And it's super important to do and keep on the forefront. Man, this is a social show, one that I love to call people out on that should be on, and I don't know everybody yet in the world, so I'm curious. This is your time to shine and call somebody out. So what other successful investors or business owner like yourself should be on the Live Free Investors podcast?
Sure. So I may throw a couple of them at you here
All right.
if you're game for it.
I'm ready, man.
So first and foremost, I would offer up my partner, Josh Pickle. Josh is a great guy and incredibly good at keeping a positive attitude, especially through everything we're doing. Yeah, the guy is excellent at that. Two others, especially in the commercial industry, would be Trey Stuckenschneider.
Okay.
Long name. You're probably going to misspell it. It's okay. I think everybody does.
That's all right. I can find Trey.
Yeah, Trey's a good guy, owns a lot of warehouse space and knows quite a bit about the industry. The other one that I actually just had a conversation with last night would be Calvin Johansson.
Okay.
I may have murdered his last name, but he's a buddy of mine out of Iowa and also excellent at keeping positive attitude. And he just got into investment real estate about 2 years ago and already has 13 doors privately owned by himself. So
awesome.
He's just kind of multiplying his investments.
That's awesome, man. I would love some introductions if I can't reach those folks. So I'll reach out to you and let you know. The most important of the question of the podcast, and I think you've listened to a few of these, so you probably know what this is, but I'm curious, on a daily basis, how do you live free?
Yeah, so I would say the most free thing that I can do is come home to my wife and love on her.
Yeah.
So I make
important.
Yeah, I make every opportunity count for that. I know last time I saw you, we weren't telling people yet, but we are expecting our first child at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Really, really, really excited for that. So
well, you're telling everybody now, Matt.
Dude, it's November 2nd, cool. I think.
Congratulations.
But yeah, I would say to live free, my day in and day out, I come home and I spend as much time with her as I can. And I focus on that because at the end of the day, all of this investment and all of this business, as important as it is, it's a means to an end. And the end for me is to be with my family and my loved ones and to take care of them and folks around me. So
yeah, that's spoken like a true man, authentic, and I appreciate that. So good. So Matt, where can we find you? Where can people reach out to you, get to know what you're doing in the Columbia and Jefferson City market, and just connect? Where can they reach out to you at?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on any social media platform other than Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter guy. I am on Facebook, Instagram. Okay. But for business, primarily reach out to me through my business email. You can email me directly at mattrackers@hightideinvesting.com.
Okay.
If you want to look at our website, you can look that up. It is hightide realtypartners.com.
hightidrealtypartners.com. We'll get that linked on the post.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. This is Logan Freeman with the Live Free Investors Podcast. I'm going to just zip. This is Logan Freeman with the Live Free Investors Podcast, where investors and business owners share advice so you too can live free. For more insights and ideas on how you can live free, connect and message with myself and Matt Rackers today. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
Thank you, Logan. We'll talk to you soon.
Until next time, live free.